And the Pledge of Allegiance is right there. Thank you. We do have a quorum tonight. All members are present. Are present. Casey is on her way. She's just a couple minutes out, so she'll be here soon. Okay, I see a hand by an ear. Can you hear me in the back?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion regarding approval of the agenda?
Motion moved.
Motion by Gilbert, second by Tama. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That was unanimous. Public remarks and concerns. At this point on the agenda, opportunity is provided for an individual or representative of a group to make statements to the board regarding an item not listed on the agenda. The speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes. The board will not take action on an item introduced during this portion of the agenda, as it would constitute an illegal act on the part of the board. Does anybody wish to speak to the board on an item, the only item not on the agenda? Okay, moving on. There is no consent agenda, and we'll move on to action and discussion, which is Resolution 2324-19 for healing and reconciliation with indigenous peoples and lands. So I have this thing to read. It says, reminder for the audience, restrooms and drinking fountains are located in the back right here. When it's time for public input, we're asking that those who wish to speak line up against the wall on the right side of the student center. We will work our way down the line until everyone in line has a chance to speak. Each person will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. The time will start when you get to the podium. We will notify you when you have 1 minute left, and we'll ring a bell. We ask that everyone show respect while people are speaking and refrain from shouting out or making comments. If you are physically unable to line up on the wall, a microphone will be brought to you when it is your turn to speak. We have a board policy which says that we will limit each item to 30 minutes. So this is one item, and the policy says 30 minutes. I'm not going to do that. So in order to extend that time, I need consent of the board. Do I have consent of the board? Yes. Okay. So we will extend that as long as we said, so that everybody has a chance to speak. Just a point, I've sat through quite a few of these. If you really want to speak, that's great. If the board hears the same thing over and over and over again, it doesn't do anything to make what you're saying more impactful. So as we get along, and it's just natural. I mean, we're going to hear repetition. When we get to that point, I'm just going to ask, how many people agree with the last speaker or something to kind of get a consensus of the audience. Okay, so I'm going to open it up for public input before the board has a discussion on resolution number 2324-19. So if you're interested,
I believe Mr. Rangel wanted to speak before we open it up to.
I think you're right.
Yes, that's correct. Is it okay if I stand so people in the back can see me? I thought, first of all, good afternoon, everybody. There you go. I'm really glad that everybody's here, right? I think it's an important series of issues, right, that we're all facing as Kelseyville residents with what's going on within the board or here in the district and outside of it, right? And I thought, for the purpose of providing more clarity, I will talk a little bit about the resolution we have here today to discuss, right? and also give you a little insight of what my last 2 weeks have been, which I think have been really beneficial for the purpose of understanding everybody, right? The first disclaimer I'm going to put out there, because I've been asked this question, is, Gilbert, do you align with Save Kelseyville? Do you align with Citizens of Healing? Where are you at, right? It's funny that that comes in regards to the resolution, because the resolution was never created with any of those groups in mind, or with anything having to do with the name change, right? And I understand how things got wrapped up. Particularly with the last 2 weeks of speaking to individuals, I was able to understand that even more, okay? So I do acknowledge that, right? But my response has been, I cannot align, right? After speaking to parties and people from both majority groups from our Native American community, I find all arguments compelling, right? And how do I get to say all arguments are compelling? It's because the last 2 weeks have been really a good process, right? The first people I reached out to speak to me were people from Save Kelseyville. And with no second doubt or anything, I agreed to a meeting. And we spoke close to 3 hours with each individual that I met, right? 3 hours that I felt were well invested on my behalf. 3 hours that at the end of the meeting, I told everyone, right? Then I meet with some citizens folks and some of our Native American community. And everybody got an average of 2.5 to 3 hours. But I told everybody, I'm glad we sat down. In some instances, we had breakfast, right? We did not debate. We did not try to prove each other wrong. We did not disagree. We felt common connectors in our specific arguments, right? But most importantly, one of my conditions of meeting with all people were, you have to open up and be vulnerable, right? And we have to be transparent. I'm not sitting here with you to argue with you and tell you why you should accept the resolution, right? It's not about that. I want to understand, why are you for the resolution? Why are you against it, right? And in that conversation of understanding, I actually got to know some of these individuals on a personal level, right? We talked about our background. We talked about what Kelseyville meant, right? We talked about what do we see in the future, right? So essentially it was all a series of pleasant conversations. Essentially, they helped me become more informed and be able to process, because that's what I do typically, right? I'm always collecting data off of people by observation, by speaking, by hearing. I have good listening skills, and I put those to practice with everybody at the same level, right? I always try to remain neutral because I want to be objective, right? You don't want the Gilbert that's subjective and that's gonna be leaning one way or the other, because that creates bias, right? In my formation, I always had to remain neutral and objective. Get to the truth, basically. And with all these individuals, about 8 of them, I was always getting to the truth. And here are some common connectors that I found across everybody that I spoke to from the respective protagonist of this whole situation, right? People agreed that there was a division out there that it's ugly, right? People agreed that born here, and your family kept being born here. Your grandfather came and established a business, and your father took it over, now you're taking it over, right? You worked hard to make Kelseyville a friendly town, right? You've built an identity around Kelseyville, not because of Andrew Kelsey and his brothers, but because of Kelseyville and your contributions to it. And that's the challenging part, right? For both groups to understand. What does that mean for us? What does it mean for you? And it takes having to be vulnerable, right? I sum it up to, if we use aggression and attacks, that's going to lead to conflict. If we use dialogue and diplomacy, it's going to lead to solutions, right? And understanding of each other. Those are some of the words that I left as I ended my conversations with some of these individuals, right? And think about it, sitting 3 hours talking to somebody, you know, it must be a really good conversation, right? So essentially, that is my sentiment right now in terms of not only what has come here to the board and the school district in regards to the resolution connecting or people finding connections with what's going on with the name change, right? But it is the temperature gauge of what's happening outside in our community, right? Because I, like everybody else, I want to believe Kelsey was friendly too, right? And that we're not at this divide and, you know, having to prove each other wrong type situation. So my hope would be, funny enough, you know, that citizens could heal to save Kelseyville, right? You put those two names together, you could kind of a catchy phrase. That would be my hope, right? That could be done probably through dialogue, but that's in your hands, right? That is your decision on whatever you decide to do. Going to the resolution, I was the author of the resolution. I presented it to my fellow board members as a suggestion that we adopt, back then erroneously called by myself, a proclamation. It's a resolution correctly stated here on the board that would honor, right, look for reconciliation and healing, right, acknowledging that there is pain within our Native American community, that the Native American community is part of our larger community, right? And the resolution was with the vision that as a public entity, the school district, we would acknowledge, because resolution essentially, what they do, they acknowledge, they put, you know, spotlight on a commitment of that institution. It's not a law. It doesn't say that because we as a district want to honor the students, that I'm forcing this individual to abide by that, right? Or any other person, right? It's saying that as a school district, we're going to work towards making those individuals, in this case Native Americans, feel welcome, that whatever trauma they're dealing with, we want to be the part of that process of healing that trauma, right? And that's how it was drafted. Now I also recognize on March 19th, we submitted a draft that had some language that could have been misinterpreted or miswritten, you can see it either way, as language that was suggesting that it could have been biased, right? The so-called, for as long as we bear the name, we can be truthful. We can truthfully, and fully honor Indigenous people. That's kind of the thing that kind of sparked this whole movement. And let me explain what the idea was behind that. The idea was that the resolution should have been truthful, right? This is one truth that I do stand by, and I'll explain why. Native Americans did suffer, not only here in Kelsey, but all across the nation, right? There is an intergenerational trauma that it's a difficult concept to understand if you haven't dedicated time to try to understand it. But, you know, the things that happen to Native Americans, they exist there, and I explain this in a way. My name, or my names are Gilbert, first name. My father is a Wrangell, and my mother is also a Wrangell from a different region in their state. And I traced back 5 generations, and for me to be Gilbert Wrangell, it had involved, for those 5 generations, 32 last names. So my family is like a wire, twisted wires of names, right? I don't know where my direct lineage is. So what I explain is, my last names come from Spain, right? I don't have a direct connection to the things that happened to the Spaniards that were invaded by the Moors. I can't connect that way. Just because in my last names together, to where I'm at, there's Martinez, Rodriguez, Wenceslao, Jimenez, Diaz, Carrillo, a bunch of them, right? But what I do try to understand in terms of our Native American community is there is a direct lineage, right? Think of it. how we stand and live right now. There's some big common last names, right? Duncans, McLeods, right? It's because they don't move, they're not intermingling like the Spaniards did per se, right? Over there in Mexico, that led up to my sort of, genesis, right? Pretty much we're kind of local and married in, so whatever happened 5 generations ago is much more direct lineage than someone like me, right? So for someone like Crane Duncan to say Lucy Moore survived and she had to witness that, in Bloody Island, Lucy Moore was, his great-grandmother, right? And for him to imagine what that child at 6 years old went through, seeing bodies falling perhaps, having to stay stuck underwater for hours with the tule reed to breathe, seeing other children die, seeing elders die, that is a traumatic history, right? And it does affect our brain imprint. When I work with violent students in San Diego, consistently the circle of violence that the grandfathers brought through gangs, the parents, led to angry children, violent children, that didn't understand why they were angry and violent. You could just look wrong at a child and they would attack you, right? You could try to help a child. I was in that situation, trying to help a child, and I was confronted with aggression, right? So intergenerational trauma is really deep, right? So the resolution looks at those factors, right? We look at modern statistics. Native Americans are about 4.2% of the US population, right? A really small percentage. How does that reflect? Here in schools, we use a thing called California Dashboard, right? Or California School Dashboard. And in that dashboard, it gives you all the metrics in terms of student performance. You could go by district down to your individual schools. If you want to look at Kelseyville High School and the graduation rate for 2023 for Native Americans, only 5 graduated, right? But you have to dig deep. I would have to call Dr. Thomas and say, what are your statistics for Native Americans within Kelseyville District? Because the dashboard, because that group is so small, is not represented on the dashboard. You see empty lines. So if you're not knowledgeable about how the dashboard works, and you go in and you want to say, well, how are Native Americans doing in graduation rates? You're going to see blanks and you're going to assume, well, they're not graduating. They're not academically proficient. They don't go to school. And it's an entire misconception because the system is not designed right? It's under those circumstances, right? I work in health currently. Native Americans lead in the death index for all chronic illness, including diabetes, obesity, heart disease, respiratory disease, right? If you're not Native, you're half the time. I want to mention how much it meant to you. I didn't mention how much it pains you to lose it. And I just say, well, they lost it at one point until they were called this. And then I end the resolution, right? It's the same analogy. We have to face the truth, right? Resolutions are not uncommon, right? That is the Pasadena Unified School District. They're a little more thorough. I think they quote percentages, and right there, I think the 4th or so whereas. This was dedicated to Latino and Indigenous students. That's a California district, Pasadena. I'm going to flip through these, right? I'll give you a couple minutes to kind of read through, look through them. This one is from federal government, 2023, I think. A proclamation on Indigenous Peoples Day. Recognizing contributions, recognizing struggles. Some of these resolutions I'm showing, they quote Indigenous people as a surviving, resilient group of individuals, having endured really harsh conditions. That was by President Biden. This one is from the Australian government. This is an actual apology, right? This is an actual apology that their government did to Indigenous people. They're sorry. I see it already like 3 times. We say sorry, we say sorry, we say sorry. There we go. Here's some land acknowledgements. So in terms of land acknowledgement, some folks from what I hear were confused that the resolution was going to be read at the events in the high school. No. The resolution pretty much will pass or not pass. If it does pass, it is filed, right? It is kind of our existing commitment. It's historically within the district. Somebody pulls the archives, they're going to say that resolution passed on this day for this purpose. But it's our commitment as a district, right? That we're just going to honor people and all that. We do mention a land acknowledgement in the resolution as a recognition for events. And that kind of sparked from me sitting in graduation events for our Kelseyville High School students. And we have a welcome in Spanish, we have a welcome in English. And I turned my head over to see the students who were graduating, I saw Native American students with some elements of Pomo regalia on their caps and gown, and I said, where's the welcome in Pomo, or Eastern Pomo, where is the land acknowledgement? So I thought that if we're going to do Spanish and English, being that our major demographics are, white, Hispanic, and Native American, that we would have a land acknowledgement. And those are brief statements, right? Basically that state, we recognize that we're here on the land that was once home to, and then we name the people, right? And then we say, we honor those people here today during this event. And then we go with the program, right? There is someone reached out, their idea that the land acknowledgement, that what it would do would be that somehow it would open the floodgates to people reclaiming lands, and that they were going to take them back. It doesn't do that. You would have to go through a huge legal process and years of going back and forth to be able to reclaim a land from anyone, right? Even within non-natives, that's the case as well. So land acknowledgements are basically just an acknowledgement, as the name states, for the people that were here before and that were kind of here, for those people that steward for this land, right? They were our stewards, basically, right? And here are some examples, right? And they're kind of, in different sentiments, some are really brief, some have a little more detail. This one's from Redwood Community Services, a local nonprofit. Right. That's from Oakland University. This one from Yolo County Board of Education. And here in the county, we have, I know County Office of Ed, I used to work there. We have land acknowledgement there. I was doing some work with the County of Lake for the Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity forums. They were reading land acknowledgements there, right? Other districts, Upper Lake District has a land acknowledgement as well. And so they're really, I do work for the Middletown Arts Center. There's a land acknowledgement there as well. So, they're really popular, I've been knowing about land acknowledgements from my time working for the governor's office, right? During Schwarzenegger administration. There was a land acknowledgement then, So they're pretty popular. They're not threatening to take away land from anyone. And there's some more examples, right? That's from the A's. And this one, Upper Lake Unified School District, right there. And this one, I think this one was used as well by some other groups, and as well as Lake County Office of Ed, I think read this one as well. So, essentially, those are kind of acknowledgements that are different from the resolution, right? And the resolution, like I said, is not law. We are inviting the community to join us in this effort. You choose if you want to join. It's up to you, right? That's your right. And then the other point I want to go to is there's this conception that somehow the resolution could be weaponized. And when I heard that, I got really frustrated because the resolution should not be weaponized. And that's why we got through this series of conversations to make sure it's not that way. So the one area that could have been interpreted as a weaponization was the part about the name. In terms of the efforts that both major groups here are discussing right now at the BGN, right? I could see as somebody putting up, oh, they mentioned something about the name in that resolution in the district, so I don't know, depending on how you get over there, they might be convinced. So we propose to eliminate that paragraph. So there's the word name is no longer in the resolution, right? Because the important part of the resolution is throughout the other parts of it, which is acknowledging people, committing to honor people, our indigenous people, recognizing the historic past, those components. The one thing that could be weaponized, I'm not going to show it to you, but and I'm not going to say what it is this that I found. Right? I'm going to have it to Rick. Just go through this, Rick. Tell me if this could be weaponized. Yes, ma'am.
I'm looking at the agenda, and we all took time off of our long day at work
Yeah.
to come here to express our opinion, and I feel like you're just educating us on your opinion. And it's supposed to be our opinion and our turn to talk.
I'm about to wrap up.
Okay.
I'm about to wrap up. I will. But I'm going to have 30 more seconds to what I was going to say. I think the education is necessary because there's a lot of miseducation, right, around this issue. So I'm just trying to level it out so we all understand where this is all coming from, right? It's kind of painful to see people are misunderstanding and getting upset, right, amongst yourselves and all that, over something that is not understood. So that Rick is holding there, which I'm not going to share, I'm not going to say the name, can be weaponized, can be used against one of your arguments. And somebody questioned the resolution. Can you give us citations? I'm not a historian. And like I told the folks back then during COVID, I'm not a scientist. So what I do is I look towards the scientific community, in this case, the community of researchers, and not your, blogger that thinks they know history. I'm looking for reputable. Then why'd you ask?
30 seconds.
Let's make it available.
We'll make it available. We'll put it up on the website. Or,
Yeah.
I was just trying to show you that the resolution carries no weight in any of your arguments for or against the name change.
Okay, so let's listen. Wait. They're not arguments. Let's listen to the opinions of the residents of Kelseyville and anybody else that is here.
Thank you. I was just trying
Gilbert, thank you very much. Gilbert was authored this, and it's only fair to give an opportunity to let you know who this is going. Okay, so we're going to have people line up, and then one by one they can come up to the microphone. We're going to keep it at 3 minutes. There was something else that I was going to say that I forgot. Oh, most important thing. We're here to listen to you, and we're very happy that you guys came to these meetings. We also have meetings on the third Tuesday of every month, and you're more than welcome to attend those. And the agendas for those are posted usually on the Friday before those meetings. So, who would like to speak to the board tonight?
Elders first.
Me? Okay, students.
This is gonna have to be quick.
So Nick, you have 2 people there, so you can go 6 minutes.
6, okay.
And
Perfect.
she's got to read the other half.
Are you okay with that? Okay,
Okay.
perfect. Hello and good evening. My name is Nicholas Del Bosco, and I am the president of the student body at Kelseyville High School. Thank you for allowing me the chance to speak before you today. I'm here today not to give my own opinion, but to represent the wishes of my class, the class of 2024, of whom I was president last year, and who Azella Covarrubias is now president. In Resolution 23/24-19, one section states, whereas the Kelseyville Unified School District will announce a land acknowledgement at every major event of importance, including graduation. The desire to understand and bring further acknowledgement to the plight of the Native peoples of our area is admirable without question. But the way it is done must be thoughtfully considered and with thorough input from the community and the students this board has responsibility over. The fact is, this section of the resolution directly affects your students, and more specifically, my class's activities. Therefore, it is the business of the seniors to give our opinion to the board. I cannot speak for future classes, nor will I give you advice on this matter from my own understanding, but I have spoken with students in my class about having a land acknowledgement at our graduation, and there were two things they expressed to me. Firstly, they were frustrated that this might be put into graduation ceremonies without our consultation. Secondly, they requested an anonymous poll to be sent to the class so that interested students could express their perspectives on the matter. I did indeed complete a survey of the class of 2024 as they requested. But before I share the results of this survey, I would like to share some personal feelings that I have heard from students in the senior class. As previously mentioned, many were frustrated that this hadn't been discussed with our class first, before putting a priority like this in the resolution, considering it would affect our graduation. It may be the will of this board to have land acknowledgements, but that might not be the will of this class for their graduation. Every board member has had their own graduation, and if this is something that these members cared about, they could have done it then. Furthermore, a question was also brought up to me, even by some Native students in my class, that considering how divisive this topic is for our community, is it appropriate to bring such a political issue to this kind of community event? This resolution states things like, the land acknowledgement will allow healing for the entire community. But all this resolution has done, at least by my perception, is open up old wounds, cause further hurt, and create anger and strife among the people of Kelseyville. By singling out one people and population for recognition at graduation, this resolution will trample on all the memories and experiences of the rest of the community. This resolution alienates many and discounts all who have suffered through time. Kelseyville is too large and diverse to allow only a certain group a voice, especially when it leaves out the vast majority of people here. Finally, there's the matter of the poll and its results. There are 114 students in the senior class. 74 decided to express their feelings on the matter. The other 40 did not feel comfortable stating their feelings on this contentious issue. This, I might add, is a better percentage turnout than every presidential election since William Howard Taft until 2020. Nonetheless, the results, which I can provide each board member with, and if any interested parties are interested in seeing as well, the results are this. Over 60% of the students polled do not want a land acknowledgement at our graduation ceremony. It is simply too divisive an issue and is considered inappropriate for this type of ceremony. As stated, I cannot speak for future classes, and maybe it is appropriate to ask further in future classes about this issue. But it is something that is specific to that class and that time because it is their graduation. Please take our desires into account when voting on this resolution, and we humbly but firmly request you respect our desires for our ceremony. Thank you.
So, I would like to thank the Kelseyville Unified School District Board of Trustees for having this second meeting. And those trustees that have taken their time to have conversations with us, the community members. Some trustees responded to the fact that there were misunderstandings and misinformation, as Gilbert stated, that was received by the public. I agree with that, and in the past 2 weeks, though, the process has become more clearly defined, and we thank you for that also. I also believe there is a misunderstanding between this board and its community. What happened? From the community's perspective, it appeared that the KUSD board was aligning itself with the Citizens for Healing group, the group that is trying to change the name of Kelseyville to Canocti. Somehow they, C4H, knew about and ended up at that meeting. This is not the first time this has happened with this group. We are very concerned with this group's influence on this resolution. They have labeled the Kelseyville community with names such as Hitlerville, Kelsey Evils, and everyone that disagrees with their position on the name change is labeled a racist. Hence the grave concern from the Save the Name group and community members that this group would have influence on this board and/or the resolution. It has been stated by trustees that the KVUSD does not take sides on political issues, or we have no place as a district in the political arena. This resolution that was intended to be a land use resolution has now become a resolution that is politically charged. Much of that is because of the Save the Name issue. We also agree that the KVUSD board should not take sides or be political. But things are different now. Because of the proposed name change by C4H and the current political climate surrounding this resolution and the name change issue, we strongly feel that this school board does not want to be, strongly feel that if this school board does not want to be political or take sides, then this conversation should end. This resolution should be tabled or postponed from consideration until the name change issue has been resolved. Unfortunately, I feel there is no way to separate this resolution issue from the name change issue at this time based on all of the above. In closing, I feel it's important for this school board to build and maintain trust with its community. That said, it's important to not take an action one way or the other that would benefit one side or the other with the Save the Name issue. I understand the desire to pass a resolution, but considering the climate now in our community, this is not the time. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara Green, Kelseyville resident. And first I wanted to point out that I contacted the other 5 school districts in the county, and none of them, including Upper Lake, told me by phone that they had not. So I'm not sure where that discrepancy is. And second, even with the specific reference to the name removed, the resolution can still be considered politically charged as written. So it's not acceptable for the board to be passing any resolution of this type at this time. I'm just wondering, what is the urgency to having a land acknowledgement passed now while there is currently a name change proposal being considered by the U.S. Board on Geographic Names? By bringing this up now, I feel the school board would be contributing to the division in this community, and I'm requesting that the district table the resolution until the name change issue is resolved. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bert Landra, and I want to applaud the work that's been done on getting this all together, to acknowledge, to thank the people that were here. And, you know, to me, the importance of this whole thing are the children in this school and what's passed along. And what came out in the resolution was very good. I mean, I think it's bare bones as far as it really singles out something. But I feel that what should be done, and I'm surprised that it's never been really considered through the years, considering what the person that this school and is named after, what his response was with the children and the people particularly the children, because we have students coming here in the school. And I also want to acknowledge the slander that came from Mr., what's your name? Okay, Mark Borghesani. And some of these things I never heard. And as far as the division's been here from back in the 1840s when this whole thing started, and it seems that it's continued. I mean, what's one of the things now? Kelseyville. I mean, you know, but I'm not speaking on the town right now. I'm speaking with the school, because the name is everything. And this is, you know, what's passed along with this acknowledgement or regard, I mean, it's memorialized, is that this person, what they did was not only condoned and accepted, but promoted the behavior of such things by the nature of what's done when the history is known. The history is not very known, and that's what I think is a big deal. And when I want to really applaud you for bringing up some of this, but it was really brutal. And what we did, I mean, we know a lot more than just acknowledgement, because there's been a division, there's been a separation, and we're the whole community. We're not back a few hundred years ago. Right now, we are the entire community. We are living in Kelseyville. We're, you know, from here. And it's not the name, it's how everybody has been with each other and worked with each other. And this is the whole important thing. I mean, I think the school should change its name to anything but cannot tie. That it should be, you know, a decision on this. And I think this would be a really healing thing. But, you know, I feel that when we're talking about, you know, a community, we're talking about everybody. And there's a lot of people that live here that needs to be acknowledged. And we're all in this together. We shouldn't be having any bannings, any kind of things. We're all in the same boat, in the same lump, and we're working toward our common dreams. Thank you.
Are we giving 1 minute warnings? Dr. Thomas? Are we giving 1 minute warnings?
I overlooked the 1 minute warning accident.
Okay.
I have it. Only one person being
I can't hear you.
However, I think that they're deferring to you, ma'am. I think they've deferred to you. They want to hear what you have to say. That's the we.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Connie Partita Wright. I'm a graduate of Kelseyville High School class of 1968. I also have a daughter and a grandson that have graduated from this Kelseyville High School. I was also selected by the Chamber of Commerce for Lake County as the Girl Student of the Year. And so I really was honored to be selected. I am a descendant of Dr. Fred Hogan of Anapopomo, and our family has been carbon dated to have lived here in Lake County for over 20,000 years. Over the years, my parents have been active in community services. My father being involved in the Kelseyville Fire Department, which was a volunteer organization. My mother, Dorothy Partita, was responsible for reestablishing health care for California tribal people throughout the state of California. The Lake County Tribal Health was one of the first 9 Indian health projects established here in California. So we were home to one of the first tribal health care facilities. She also was involved in the establishment of 30 American Indian education centers throughout the state of California. So I follow in the footsteps of my parents, who demonstrated love and dedication to this community. I mentioned these achievements as they focused on the education and health for our tribal communities, seeking to create improvements for our communities in rural areas. The effort the school board is taking to recognize our tribal people here in Kelseyville is part of the foundation for needed change that can enhance the humanitarian and historical changes that are needed to enhance understanding of the importance of education in achieving needed acknowledgement of the historical atrocities experienced by our original Native people. For the past 50 years, I have worked at local, state, regional, and national levels to create needed change throughout the 113 tribes in California. I have witnessed needed changes at various government levels, and is documented in laws, policies, and practice in educational institutions, healthcare providers throughout rural California. I am very proud that this educational body has taken the steps to bring forward what is needed to create the change for healing. Thank you.
I'm Alan Fletcher. These gentlemen called me an outlier. In geological terms, that means I'm the same as you. I just live a little bit away from Kelseyville. I live in Seacom, all of a sudden. I knew nothing about the tribes when I came to Lake County. And then I started a meeting on KUSD, 3 tribal members, programs around that. I got to talking and got slowly to appreciate what they were going through. We're not working on behalf of the tribes. We're working as settlers, as people who are not natives, who came here one way or another and want to make the place welcoming for all. In terms of our organization, we have embarked on a program of education. We have dug deeply into the history. My PhD isn't in history, it's in computer technology, but I can research stuff. And the deeper I research, the worse it got. Personally, bad worse. If you go to citizensforhealing.org and look up my 7-page history, you'll see quotes from about what the Kelseys personally.
Over the course of their spring break, to paint a beautiful mural. The fact is, I have in my hand checks totaling over $26,000 to pay this youth their time. And they spent their time to honor their ancestors who were murdered, raped, enslaved, displaced. These youth are proof of people who survived racial erasure. They survived ethnic cleansing, and all they want to hear is, I see you. All they want to hear is, I see what your people went through, I see your pain, and we are here with you. It's not that hard. That's all I gotta say.
Hello everyone, my name is Hunter Melvin, and I wanted to talk about the proclamation, because there's a lot of people here that are confused with the proclamation. Some may or may not be, but I keep hearing the Save the Kelseyville people talk about Save Kelseyville. But to my understanding, this is about the proclamation. And the proclamation is nothing to do with the name at all. All it is to tell you where the land came from. And I'm personally Yurok, so I don't know whose lands this was, so I can't tell you, but that's all it is to tell you where you're at. And it's really confusing to me seeing all the old people get butthurt over the fact that we just want to tell you what village or what land you're on, and it has nothing to do with the name change of Kelseyville at all.
Pepe, Wikin Kabil Yahaki Alambak Yahaki Klatsadihiba. This tribal ID card is what gives me the right to say that I'm indigenous and from this community, from my tribe and my village. No other group in this country has to carry a card around to determine, one of the board members got to acknowledge their ethnicity and their background. We don't get to do that unless we carry a card around. So I want to remind folks about the racism that still exists in this country that they may not be aware of. I speak tonight on behalf of an organization that does a lot of work within the Lake County area. I want to discuss this profound importance and deep significant issue that we're looking to adopt a land acknowledgement, and that the understanding that renaming a community or acknowledging the first people of this land are not intertwined concepts. Importantly, the name of the place does not create a community, rather it's the relationships that we forge with one another that truly defines and builds a community. As we gather here in the village of Khabenapo, the Aboriginal homelands of those that we know as today as Big Valley Rancheria, it is important to remember that our children are always watching us and listening to us. They observe the decisions that we make, and more importantly, the manner in which we communicate with one another. I find it very disheartening that some of the students felt like they couldn't express themselves openly because of a contentious issue that the adults made contentious. They are learning from our actions today what it means to be a community member that honors the past while building a future. We have the power to end the cycle of lateral violence. Indigenous people have long exhibited remarkable resilience and adaptability, confronting drastic changes in our environment, lands and water, changes that threaten our very existence. Our sacred mountain, Khonokotai, has been desecrated, and our pristine waters, vital to our communities, are now contaminated. These truths should be discussed, not dismissed. When we discuss land acknowledgements, it's important to recognize that they are not merely symbolic gestures, they are powerful tools of truth and history, acknowledging the first people who have inhabited these lands for millennia. They are vital steps toward understanding and healing. They remind us that our recognition of history holds immense power that can acknowledge past injustices, and that it is the first step towards rectifying them. They're also educational, teaching us about the rich and diverse history of our community. While no one here today can be blamed for the injustice of the past, we all bear the responsibility for the legacy that we leave for our children. We hold the power to shape the future. By embracing land acknowledgement, we not only honor the contributions and history of Indigenous people, but we instill in our children the values of respect, acknowledgement, and healing. Your active participation is crucial. In closing, let us commit to our principles, not at the end of our journey, but as an ongoing process. A process where every step taken in the direction of truth, understanding, and mutual respect. Let us build a community where every member, young and old, knows their history, recognizes the value of every culture, and moves forward toward collective responsibility in creating a just and equitable society. Thank you.
Ditto. No, I'm just kidding. Like he said. No, I just want to introduce myself. Some of you guys know me up there. My name is Danette Rangel. I'm a tribal member from Big Valley, the lands that you guys are all on now. And I just represent my family and who I'm from, where I'm from. I have children that come here to this district. We live in the Lakeport district, but we choose to come here. And I have 8 children that come here. One graduated last year. He had some of those traditional regalia on, and he was honored to wear that and proud of that. And he would have loved to have a land acknowledgement at his ceremony. So if we can make this happen going forward, I think it's a great, huge step in the right direction for all of our people and all of our community. I represent Kelseyville, whether it's that name, whether it's the history, that's where my kids go. And that's who I represent here today, is my children. I have high schoolers, I have middle schoolers, and I have elementary kids. And I have an upcoming kindergartner. So that's why I'm here today, to speak up on it. I don't have hate in my heart for the history and the past that's been done, but I do carry my generations that are coming behind me. And that's who I represent today. And I would appreciate it if this resolution was passed. A simple acknowledgement and the move in the right direction. Thank you. Oh.
Tom making was my, is it not up?
You have to get closer to the microphone.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so I'm from Kelseyville. I went to school here. I'm really happy to hear from Danette that really also like is from here, because it does seem like we have a lot of people from outside. I'm not familiar with really anyone on the board from just my experience on the school, so I'm not sure that, I mean, you might be from in between my time.
Born and raised.
Born and raised, okay, good. I'm subbing here now. I've been working in Lakeport before as a special ed teacher like yourself. And I do just want to point out that a lot of the things that you're talking about, the trauma and the intergenerational like effects, is pretty pseudo-scientific. It's not, you may like have, be able to cite your papers or whatever, other people can cite papers that show that this is basically kind of a pseudo-scientific religion, and these things are disputed. And which kind of brings us to like, why is all this happening? Why is it coming to Kelseyville instead of the other districts? You guys, this is political. This is completely political. You're getting people from out of the town that are interested in having power in Kelseyville, and for whatever purposes. And respect to the tribes, they have interests here too. But when you look at what land acknowledgements are, you can see from the things we saw from Pasadena, these are copy-paste political actions that people are making across the country. And why? Because it does transfer power. And I would question, I mean, I definitely hear Danette is an authentic person. I would question whether that is the representative voice of the tribe. And I'm sure if I was in the tribe, I wouldn't want to speak out against it. And I see it as borderline racist, assuming as soon as someone shows up from the tribe that they speak for all the tribe. These are individuals, and there's plenty of people that are not speaking. I know some classmates, some Pomo classmates that from our time that are not in line with this. Part of what these land acknowledgements do is just get everyone pray in front of, to like, we're all on this, and therefore now the next thing that you're going to ask, like changing the name. Like, which is why it's here right now. That's why they have this draft, and then they took out all the language that made it seem political, is that we want, because you're trying to present a look that is not political, and that's basically deceptive on many levels. And I think that the tribes and the people of Kelseyville need to be a little skeptical of these people coming in. You can look out, it's a nationwide movement. These are all political statements.
I'm really nervous, so I just wanted to put that out there.
Me too.
Y'all have stated that this resolution isn't political, but it's very obvious just by omitting and revising the original resolution. Makes it political. I am just, I see these lovely, I'm throwing this out. I'm just gonna speak from my heart. Y'all, I sat there and just talked to the woman standing in front of me that has 8 children. Wonderful. I mean, I said 4 words to her, and she spoke from her heart. And that's what I ended up having to do. This is political. You revised it, the resolution, a couple of times to take out the land, the name of Kelseyville. That makes it political because it's charged, given the fact that Kelseyville's name is under attack, it's under attack. You felt the need to put that in the resolution, and I gotta take it out because, that could mean it's political. It's political. We've all read it. We've all read and seen the revisions. And it just screams and reeks that you are already decided on what you're gonna do, and really it should be tabled. Given the chance, given the fact that, you know, the whole name change and Citizens for Healing are, you know, such a big to-do, this resolution does not belong in the here and the now. It needs to be tabled for now or for good. You know, we all acknowledge, at least I do, that the wonderful, beautiful Indigenous people that I have come across. We're not denying that. We're just, this isn't the right time. It's not the right time. And you, in your 40-minute speech, you went way out of your lane. This is supposed to be a school board meeting, not an educational, you know, 40-minute speech trying to gaslight us into believing, you know, all that you say. You know, you went out of your lane. And I'm not going to be ashamed to say that. It's just not the right time. And I apologize for being nervous and rambling on like a bumbling idiot, but I hope I got my point across. You know, you're all elected. You all can be unelected and unappointed. And that's all. And if you pass this resolution, you fail the students because you're actually catering to a very small demographic, which is 2.8% of the entire student body for the entire district.
Good evening. My name is Matt Carpenter, and first of all, I would like to thank the board for the second meeting. It was slightly crowded the last time we met, and I appreciate the remarks that there was a revision to take out the name. I think that took a lot of steam away from that. I would like to ask the board to consider perhaps a slightly modified resolution to take away some of the inflammatory language that was in the other one. And I beg to differ with our esteemed board member, but some of that was inflammatory. And I realize for some people, there are words in English that if you haven't used to grow up with hearing them, you don't find them inflammatory. It's just like foreign cuss words. I don't know what it means to them, but it sounds fine to me. So my suggestion to the board is there was one submitted in the board packet that was a recommended change to that, which is page 21, and then possibly a land acknowledgement on page 22. I strongly suggest the board tonight look that over and see if a modified resolution might not be the best action to sort of cover the bases. Now, as I was sitting there, someone did suggest something that is possible. And I have actually two thoughts on that. One of them is certainly to have perhaps a separate part of a special ceremony as part of the graduation festivities for the Native students. And the other thing I suggest the district is to remind ourselves what is the purpose of this resolution. If the purpose of the resolution is educational in nature, it seems to me that there are plenty of things that we could be educated about from the Native culture, which is greatly to be admired, and it is important to be studied, both in terms of their language and their customs and their history. That certainly should be done. It easily could be done here. There are several people in the county I can think of offhand that could easily set something up like that, and I put myself at the disposal of the board if you need assistance in doing something like that. But I think that that would be very important for our students and for the community. And quite frankly, I think it's foolish to rehash the past. I think it is foolish to make these kinds of things. We're talking about education. Let's do some education. And I think the solution is to back away from some of the language, and I think that that could work, and I think there is language that is there that is possible to be found so that you actually could come to an agreement where we would agree on those things for the sake, as we said, of these students to grow up and appreciate their heritage. And I thank you for your time, Mr. President.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fleming McLeod, and I'm the tribal chairman of Big Valley Rancheria. You know, just like a couple people that were up here, I'm really nervous to speak too, right? Because of the whole issue that's at hand. So, you know, a gentleman spoke earlier that there's one person that, you know, they can't possibly speak for the whole tribe, right? She comes from the tribe. She is the people of that tribe. She's related to almost everybody in that tribe, as well as myself. So she knows what our tribe is going through, what it's been through, so I believe she has the right to speak on what our people. Furthermore, you know, I grew up in a city, right, where there wasn't that much Native Americans. It was mostly African Americans, Mexicans, whites, and a few natives, right? And I come up here and it's a whole different demographic. And I've never seen any of this kind of stuff before. And it's really, really blatant, right? It's really blatant. I know my people's history, right? I know what they've been through, I know what they suffered, and I see every day what they continue to still go through. Our children, our women, our adults, and I see what they go through, and it's from what they went through in the history. You can't say that it is over because we still live it. We still have to see it, you know, and we still feel like there's feet on our necks, no matter how much economic development we do, what we bring to these counties, what we bring to the city, what we bring. We still have this foot on our neck. And all we're asking is for a little acknowledgement. Is like, we see you, you know, because our kids will remember that. They're like, we were not recognized. We were nobody to these people, you know? And that's all we are asking. For when our children grow up, they don't have to feel like they're less than. You know? And I just ask that. I'm in support of this proclamation. You know, you go and like Gilbert said, you have an announcement in Spanish, in English, but you don't have no land acknowledgement. It's a little paragraph. And that hurts some people so much because they're afraid to lose what they have. And we are not coming to take it. We just want to be a part and be recognized with your community. That's all I have to say.
Good evening. Steve Stanger, Kelseyville. No one in this room is saying that the atrocities of the Kelsey family did not happen. This proclamation, though, is political, like the woman earlier said. This board is here to educate, is to oversee the education of our children.
Political, and you're a board that is supposed to educate students, and I feel like that is your job, to educate all students, and I feel like that's what you did tonight. And it's sad that you're getting kicked back, Gilbert, because you're educating, because it's seeming like there's more hate towards the actual action behind it and trying to resolve the past traumas of our people, because there's so much naysayers, right? And I didn't want to come up here and get political. I work in politics every day. I'm speaking from my heart right now. Lost my train of thought. But what is going to happen if we wait for the name change? Is that if we don't win, or I'm not saying I'm taking a side, but say the name change stays, say the name stays, then are you guys going to be for this? I mean, when is it going to happen? Why do we have to wait? This is just a simple acknowledgement of all of our graduates, but acknowledging that you are on original Big Valley Rancheria Pomo lands. That's it. Like my brother said, Flavor McLeod, the chairman. It's acknowledging that you guys are on our land. And we're going to be here forever. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you guys for all the work that you do every day. This has been a tough situation for all of you, and I just want, as board members, and I want to acknowledge that. I want to remind you of your purpose. This is your purpose statement from the internet. Our fundamental purpose is to ensure that all students learn at high levels and leave KVUSD college and career ready. So your job is really to ensure that the school is doing their job, the schools are doing their job in Kelseyville, and that they're educating students. It's not to be political. And I do also feel that this is a very political time. I'm very sad for my community. I'm sad for Kelseyville, I'm sad for the current residents, and I'm sad for the sisters and brothers I have that are Indigenous people in this area, because this fight right now is not good. And I would ask that you would listen to your students and table this until the name change happens, because unfortunately, this happened during that time. Whether it's part of it or not, it is happening during the time that the name change is happening. And so it is causing political strife, whether we like it or not. I also wanted to read to you a statement, because I am a third generation Kelseyvillian, and 3 graduates from Kelseyville in my family, and I currently have a grandchild who is currently going to Kelseyville schools. And I grew up with a bunch of POMO students who I still love and I consider my friends. Not everyone is speaking out because they're scared, and I want to make sure that you hear this opinion. As an Indigenous person whose family was part of local schools, I cringe every time I hear someone read the land acknowledgement verbatim, or at all. It feels forced and not empathetic, and it just makes me cringe, knowing it's not likely that the person reading it knows much, if anything, about the Indigenous people's practices or lands or the true impact of the schools. That trauma and loss, it feels like a forced part of government to satisfy the minds of non-Indigenous people so that they feel like they are doing something and taking accountability. And I'll leave you with that. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Randall Cole. I have with 3 girls and a niece through the school. Been a homeowner in Kelseyville for quite some time. My life started years ago when I was a little boy. My family used to bring me up here. My mother used to dance with the Native Americans. A lot of people don't know that. I look Afro-American, but I have Native blood in me too. So I want people to understand what I'm hearing here today. I understand change is hard. Change is difficult. I'm a counselor in this county, and I've been a counselor for a decade. And I see a lot of youth and a lot of adults who've been traumatized by the history. I'm not trying to change a name. I'm here to invoke empathy, genuineness. Come out of denial, and let's do something that elevates our county. We haven't evolved. People say, oh, we can do it later, we can do it then, we can do it now. What happened in the last 50 years? Oh. There's been no change. And I'll get you from both sides, because I'm Afro-American and I'm Native American. If I can forgive, if I can move forward, if I can evolve, and if I can love, and it don't matter what color, who they are, male or female, large, small, tall, wide, it don't make any difference. I have everything. I have genuineness, I have understanding. And here today, we need some understanding. People been hurt. People been traumatized. And we walk around like it hasn't happened. It didn't happen. My time is short. Look, we need to evolve. Kelseyville needs to evolve. If that's doing a land acknowledgement, let's do it. That's kibbles and bits compared to what has taken place. That's small stuff. We need to be doing chunks and humps, do bigger stuff for Kelseyville and for Lake County. Thank you very much.
Nisham, Shakaya, Katie Ray, Shagosha, Nomalaki is Keta, Wailaki is Keta, Wintoon is Keta. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Katie Ray. I'm an enrolled member of Round Valley Indian Tribes, and I'm the Victim Services and Programs Manager for Scotts Valley Band of Pomo Indians. Behind me, I have many students who go to school here in Kelseyville, at Kelseyville High, Kelseyville Elementary, Mount Vista Middle School. Many of these youth painted this beautiful mural for you outside. They spent their time and energy on their vacation to give something to the community for healing, to bring us together. This proclamation, thank you Gilbert for bringing this. Gilbert reached out to me and asked me what I thought about this when he first wrote it. I said, if you're gonna do this, you have to do this right, because he had only Pomo people in there. I said, you have to put each individual tribe in there to honor them. Honor the original inhabitants of this area, as we always should. I'm not from here. My family was forced from the Chico area by John Bidwell, which everything is named Bidwell, into Round Valley. We were forcibly removed, and many of my ancestors died along the way. May 15th is Bloody Island Massacre, and that happened in 1850. If not now, when? When are we going to make change to bring healing to include these youth in what we do? I'm one of the coaches for Kelseyville High School. I'm one of the Native American Club advisors for Kelseyville High School. I'm on the DAC committee for this district. I'm on the NAC for this district. I'm on TYEC for all districts in this county. When are we going to include Natives as a whole within this entire community? When are we going to stop having segregated ceremonies for Natives? Why can we not be included as a whole within this entire whole community? We need to have healing, and in order to have healing, we need to be included. Thank you.
So keep them all in mind when you guys decide what you decide. Because those could all be your kids as well.
First of all, I'd like to say that my name is Mary Beth Bordo. I was a teacher in this wonderful school district for over 30 years. Thank you. I want to say, and I don't want to turn my back on anyone, but we're not in a circle. This is wrong. I want to say we have a crisis, but in every single crisis, there is an opportunity for growth, for beauty, for becoming more than what we have been, and more than what we currently are. This town, this wonderful place that has been in existence as a center of the world, as a town that has accepted people. I'm a member of a interracial marriage. When I came here, people spit on the ground when I held my hand in my husband's hand and we walked down Main Street. Okay, I get it. There's fear, there's pain, and there's some pretty bad ugliness. However, we can give more than words. I have been here to hear people of power make jokes about race. People of power in this district. I have been here when one in-service hour was dedicated to correction. It's not enough. I'm daring you to go beyond the proclamation. I'm daring you to look at the Senior Day program inspired by the Anderson Marsh. And I'm asking you to look at what the Khoi Nation, what scientists, what Anglo historians who know this community, what naturalists who understand this climate change are going through. They met, they ate together, they worked together. We learned. It wasn't a brain drain. I'm going to go a little bit longer. Pull me off. I'm going to go a little bit longer. I am suggesting that we do more. I am not special. None of us are. We're equal. And if Gilbert could go a little bit longer, I could go a little bit longer.
Please.
I'm suggesting that we...
Please relinquish the mic. Thank you.
Okay.
I will please
suggest...
vacate the mic. Please allow the next person.
I'm suggesting
No, we
that we
don't.
give our children an education.
We started at the beginning
I'm
and we said this.
Rick, you were the one who made the Indian joke. Be quiet. Be quiet, Rick. So I'm asking that we educate our children on all the facets. Maybe I'm done, but I spoke of something possible. And if you don't want to hear me, that's fine. But I spoke from the heart.
Oh, yes, you did. Okay. My name is Jason Lyon, and I've been here for a long, long time. I've been swimming in Kelsey Creek well, since I was 2 years old, so 50 plus years. And I'm on both sides. I agree with the indigenous, and I agree with all of our business owners. It's an awesome name, it's an awesome town. What I'm here to talk about is not really the sides, because my opinion, they've already made their decision. You all can think what you want, but the decision has already been made. That's politics. What I want to see is my community, our tribe, stay together through this, because tearing us apart is not the answer. I am a baseball coach. I coach the littlest ones, the T-ball. I have 4 4-year-olds on my team. 3 of them are little girls. The rest are 5 and 6. These kids did not even know what grass is. These kids did not even know what dirt was when they came to me. This is the environment we are living in, folks, okay? Reality. You're all sitting here using our children to play politics. Our kids have nothing to do with it. They don't care. They don't care what the name is. They want to play baseball. They want to play in the grass. They want to play in the dirt, okay? Our T-ball kids today, in 13 years, they're going to be the seniors, all right? No one's thinking about that. It's just now, now, now. We got to stop this. We can't let this divide this town. Our country's already being divided across the board, and we need to stop it. And it starts with us. It does. It really does start with us. Racism is on TV. Racism is in the government. It isn't here. I don't see any racist people in this room. I see people speaking with their heart, their love. We all love each other. That's how we are here in Kelseyville. Do what you want with the name, but leave our kids alone. I think it's pretty spineless, my own opinion, to use the kids for your agenda. That's it. Thank you.
I'm the vice chair for the Scotts Valley Band of Home Indians. I just wanted to, come here to say I support the proclamation. I think it would be healthy for the community, for the students, for everybody involved. I have a grandmother who's 95 years old. She's from up here, and she moved away a long time ago to the Bay Area. And with her age, I brought her back home, and we moved her to Kelseyville, and she said, "Oh, ma'am, why'd you move me to Kelseyville? Don't you know the history?" And I said, "Grandma, it's not like that anymore." My grandmother, her great-grandfather, her grandpa's dad was Chief Augustine, the person they accused of killing Kelsey. And I explained to her, "It's going to be okay, Grandma. You don't know, you know how Kelsey, so you know how I'm Chief Augustine's great-granddaughter? Kelsey has family too. They get wind of me, they're liable to kill me." I said, "No, they won't do nothing like that, Grandma." And I believe that. And I do believe it's changed, and I hope it has. And I just think that for us to even be having this conversation about land acknowledgement, I just don't understand it. That's the basics here. We all know whose land we're on, and we're, the people who were here. I don't understand what the argument is. If there's a concern about a name change, that's a different argument. That isn't this argument. So I just wanted to come to state that I support this proclamation. Thank you.
And I'm a member of Scotts Valley Band of Tribal Indians. I am the president of the Native American Club here at Kelseyville High School. And my freshman year, we were able to create this club in the late part of the year. And I've been president for every single year. And I come to these board meetings and I've presented my ideas and I've talked to the board, and I went to the board meeting when this got tabled to hear nothing but negativity. And I don't, you want to talk about having your children here and how much you love your children and how much you want your children to be around positive stuff, but none of you are positive. I talked to two non-ladies that night, and all I heard was negative. Even when we got to the bottom of the problem and we tried to voice our opinions and we tried to finally be heard, we were only brought back with negativity that things will never change. If your mindset right now as an older person is things will never change and this is how it is, then that's all your kids are going to learn. Because you aren't in high school right now. You don't hear what these kids are saying, how they act to us, how they treat us. You don't get to see that, but you want to back it up that we can't be acknowledged. I want to be acknowledged for who I am. And I'm sorry that you guys don't want that, you want it to be tabled, but I am a student at Kelseyville High School, and I want to be acknowledged. You're saying that kids don't have a voice in this, they do. You think that they don't care, but they do, but you aren't there to hear it because they will never tell you. That's all I have to say to you. Good night.
I am Mark Conrad. I taught here in Kelseyville for 28 years and 3 years in Upper Lake. I've been here for 50 years. I love Kelseyville. It's amazing to me, and I'll have to admit to you, as a school teacher for 32 years, some people hate you and some people like you. But I'll have to admit to you, I'm a little, as a citizen of this place, I'm a little insulted to hear all of these accusations. When I taught at the junior high level, I didn't even know, I'll be honest with you, this is how naive I was at the time. I didn't even know we had an a Native American population. I didn't even know. And you want to know why I didn't know? Because they were kids. They were kids. They were treated, everybody was treated the same. And the goal of that education was to make them into responsible adults. That was our goal. And it was accomplished. I don't know how many years I was here in Kelseyville before I found out that one of my favorite students was a Native American. And did it make any difference to me? No. No. And I'm tired of getting called an old guy with a butt hurt. And hearing all this stuff. Personally, I have to admit to you, Gilbert, I don't understand why the school board is determining whether we should do this or not. It seems to me the school board is to run the schools, to educate the students. So the fact that we should have a proclamation like that, or whatever you want to call it, I'm not sure the school board is the people that should do it. That's my opinion. Let's teach the kids. Yes. Teach the kids. Thanks.
Okay, we have had everybody who lined up. Is there anybody for physical? Hang on, sir. Sir, hang on, please. Hang on for a second, please. Is there anybody here that was unable to go line up because of a physical or age thing that needs a microphone brought to them?
In the back.
If you do, just raise your hand. Okay. Can we get a microphone back there? If you want to line up, you can. Yeah, if there's anybody else that wants to line up, now remember that we're starting to hear things over and over again. Can we get a microphone to the person that was unable to get up there? This one? That one.
Clayton Duncan. My colonized name is Clayton Earl Duncan. I never got the honor to get a tribal, the name in the roundhouse. But anyway, I'm from here. I was born here in 1950, and my great-grandmother was 106 years old when I was born, and she survived Bloody Island. And she left that story with the family, that Bloody Island story. And that's why I do things I do. It's because of her. To get her recognized as a human being. They came after her with cannons and muskets and bayonets. They bayoneted all the children. They came after her. They wanted to murder her. What'd she do to them? You know? It's now we only have about 1% of all of this land that used to be ours. Not even 1% of this land we have. Everybody else has it. They tell us what to do. We're like invisible. I'm tired of being invisible in my own land. This is why I talk the way I talk. This is why I talk on the radio the way I talk. I try to tell the history. It was wrong. You don't feel shame? We were taught to be shamed when we hurt people. We were taught to be shamed when you do things like that and try to fix it. So I started that sunrise ceremony. I was angry as a young man, very angry, wanting revenge. Then my mom told me about Grandma, how she got up every morning and prayed. Told me about the Flint Man, how the Flint Man told the people that these strange people are going to come here, do all these bad things, but don't fight them, try to get along with them. They lost their moral compass. You don't go to somebody else's house and take it over and then put them in the closet and then say, okay, you paid me for your food and water. What kind of human being does that? I'm not invisible, I'm a human being. I'm a Hindu, I'm from Hobbiton. And I'm on the Noha village, they call Robinson Rancheria. And so a little recognition, it feels good. That's all we're asking, we got feelings. That's all we're asking. I hear a lot of these words, division. We don't want to divide because of this. Man, my best friend is an Irishman. He lives in San Francisco. That's my best friend. I don't want to be separated from the brother. It's not about that, man. We want to be recognized. We're tired of being invisible as Indians. We're not from India. We call Indians. We were called Redskins. We were called savage. All kinds of names. I'm a human being. And my name, my colonized name is Clayton Earl Duncan.
Before it goes to the next one, I just wanted to mention, our indigenous people stood up and respected that Pledge of Allegiance. And our kids do the same every single day. My kids stand up for the national anthem. But I just want to say that before it goes on to the next person. Just to keep that. I forgot to mention that, so I just want to throw that out there to keep that in mind.
Next person in the line.
Upcoming. We got Gabe. Pick up where I left off.
Cut me off. They cut me off.
Hello everybody, my name is Gabriel Ray, enrolled member of Scotts Valley Band of Home Indians. I just want to say, we're not here for political purposes, we're here to be recognized. It's not about division, this is about inclusion. All we want to do is be recognized. And I don't know what my cousin just spoke for me, but if we could just do a raise of hands and say, do we all know that natives once lived here? They're the people of the lake. And what is so hard to recognize that? I mean, that doesn't seem like such a hard thing, but it seems real difficult. People keep saying it's a political issue. It's not. It's for, and somebody mentioned our kids. This is about our kids. This would allow our kids to say, look, now you can be included. They're recognizing you. And I really hope that this board really gives us a hard consideration, because this is a big thing for us to be acknowledged. The last meeting I was at, there was somebody talking about get over it. Why don't you all just get over it? And, you know, it's hard to get over something if people don't even acknowledge that it happened. So, in order for us to start healing from it, people get some acknowledgement that things like bad things even happened here in the first place. And then that will allow us to start the healing process. Or that's one step into that. So I just want to say that I appreciate the time. I appreciate both sides of everybody saying everything, but what they have to say, I don't agree with a lot of things that people say because it's not political, it's about land acknowledgement. Can we just like, say, we're still here today? You know, we're here, right here, we're standing right here. Can you acknowledge that we are here?
I'm not a public speaker, so bear with me. I just want to say that I went to this school, and just like Mark Conrad said, we didn't see each other as different people. We were just friends, you know, so anyways, I'll read what I have. We recognize and respect Indigenous peoples as traditional stewards of this land and the enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous people with their traditional territories. Instead of adopting the land acknowledgement resolution for our schools, I suggest that we take down the monument in Kelseyville to Kelsey, and replace it with one that represents our Native history to our community. Fort Bragg decided not to change their name because they said the name change would be more detrimental to the city and cause a bigger division to the community. Instead of possibly making a bigger division with a name change, maybe the new monument would educate us all about our Native history. Thank you.
Good evening. Valerie Sullivan, Kelseyville High School, Indians, class of 1978, and this is my daughter. We've been very outspoken and probably have offended many people unintentionally, probably of all colors, all races, and all religions. That's not our intention. What I want to say to you and to everybody here right now, this is causing racial division, and it is political. There's no way around it. I do not believe that Kelseyville Unified School District should even be considering this resolution. And in the beginning, God created the earth and the heavens. So, there you go.
My name is Kendra, and although I am not a graduate of Kelseyville High School, I still celebrate reunions and embrace the community in the class of 2000 as a Kelseyville High School graduate. So everybody has adopted me. I have multiple family members that are graduates of Kelseyville, both of my parents, some of my step-parents. Anyway, I don't want to really stand up here and do this. I've already nixed most of it. But my main thing with the land acknowledgement is that we embrace everybody that had from the past to today. Because obviously Lake County is an agriculturally rich community. The lands have provided for millennia for us. And to me, it is important to also acknowledge the stewards of the land, which is everybody. Everybody that exists is a steward of the land. And I think that acknowledging the entirety, especially if we're talking about history, and especially if we're talking about the atrocious history that has happened here, how have we all remained peaceful, and how have we continued to work together and educate our students if we've been so divisive. We haven't been divisive. We have been inclusive. We have been resilient. We are a community that is built on resiliency, and I don't know why anybody hasn't mentioned it, but the fires, the PSPS, the floods, all of our natural disasters, those are what bring us together and unfortunately normalize our traumas. And for some of us, our traumas, those are also exasperated by just natural disasters. Anyway, I'm rambling. My main point is that somehow we have to come to an agreement to show that we've all been here for 175 years or however long it's been since the unfortunate disaster of Bloody Island and the massacre. No, thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to everybody. My name is Michael Pena, and I'm a Mexican Indian. I'm from Robinson Rancheria. I was recently told about this issue. I didn't plan a speech, but this is the way I see it. Many people are talking about, why are you bringing up the past? Well, I see this as an education board up here. Is it educational to teach the people about the land? Oh. So what's wrong with it? The side that's opposing it, if you think about it, why would you be unfair about it? Why wouldn't you say, it's fine? All you're saying is what the land is. So that's on one side, it's history. You're just acknowledging history. And then you have those on the other side that says, hey, we love our town, Kelseyville. Am I right? You love your town, Kelseyville. But we all know the history. It's in the history book, right? It's in the history book. It's been read, it's been acknowledged. I remember a little girl when they changed the name at Kelseyville High School. She did not like my uncle Clayton Duncan. She didn't like him. She said so to me. And then all he said to her was, read the history book. She came back at the second meeting, and you know what she said? She was appalled. She was appalled that this man was a rapist, a pedophile, a killer, and a murderer. His brother went on to do the same. They were called the Raiders. And not these Raiders. Now, that's not a joke. But seriously, when you think about this, and I'm not here to preach you the gospel, I'm not here to teach you about God. That's not my business. That's not my thing. But what I do want to say is, the young lady that was just here before me, she said, God created the heavens and the earth. So can we all agree that the Creator created the earth? Right? God created the earth. So when God looks down, and He looks down upon this earth, and He says, Lakeport, Upperman, East, Lucerne, Glenhaven, Clear Lake, Lower Lake, even Middletown. But when He gets to the town of Kelseyville, He's going to say, I gave you land to live on. I gave you water. I provided you food. He provided that for all of us. And like someone said, we're human. We are all human. But let me leave you with this. When God looks down, when He says, you named the land that I gave you, this precious gift, after a murderer, after a killer, after a pedophile, after a rapist, and their family went on to do the same, you live with that on your conscience. But that's what that man did. When these people came to this country and just started killing Indians left and right, and when those people rode up all the way up to Crescent City, and they were constantly killing people, innocent Indians who had nothing to do with what's happening in Lake County.
Your time's up.
Right?
Your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, remember that. Innocent people were murdered because of what happened here in Lake County. So somebody could feed their people. Thank you. And I appreciate all of you that are here today.
Good evening, brothers and sisters, because
That's all we are right here. School boards. I believe you guys are in charge of creating policy for school districts and the schools that you represent. So I'm up here because I don't recall, or in history books, you guys are called the Knights now. Were there any British Knights running around here? So you took the name Indian, which a lot of these people, I'm a transplant, a lot of these people were Indians in high school. I asked the board that you adopt a resolution to not go back to the Indians, but to go to the tribal name, have recognition. If that would suffice also, they're not the Knights, they wouldn't be the Indians, but they'd be their traditional tribal name. So, in my words, I hope the board adopts that as a resolution. And again, I think that, I don't think anybody is denying the history of this town and what it means. But I don't see any celebrations just celebrating Kelsey either. I see the Kelseyville Parafest, a dance in the street, but I don't see any Indigenous days either. So how about we all come together, have an Indigenous Days, turn the school back to what the original mascot was, but don't call it the Indians. Call it traditionally what it should be for the land. That's my thought.
We have 6 more people in line. And I'm definitely going to cut it off at the end of 6. We're running pretty late.
I'm short here. Hi, my name is Selena Trippo. I'm a colonial member of the Vanapomo Indians in Sonoma County. My children come to this school and to Mountain Vista. And as I was standing over there for a second and I was listening to, all the brave people coming up here that had something to say, and I just couldn't stand there any longer with the blatant disregard, just the blatant disregard for these kids. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about any of you people up here who have a qualm. It is about these kids' opportunity to come together themselves. That's what it's about. That's what we're acknowledging, is these children's ability to heal themselves, because apparently no one here is willing to acknowledge that they themselves are not healed enough to at least acknowledge. Just acknowledge. That's how simple it is. But no, we want to throw these gripes, these complaints, and it is political. For you. For you. It is racial. For you. All the kids, you're right. They don't care about the race. That's why we've got black and brown and Asian, you name it, all these kids coming together in support in the back of the room. You guys haven't even turned around to see who was here. Have you? No. You haven't. This would be the place to come together.
This is where we meet everyone. Make a circle. Introduce yourselves. Welcome to the community.
It's not about the adults. It's about the kids. Get over yourself.
Hello all. Sorry that I'm going to turn my back to you guys, but I got to look at the public here. Grace Martinez, Vanapomo Indians, Big Valley. Class of 1982. Graduated here from Kelseyville. And I see my family. This is my family. This is my family. You guys are my family. I was proud to go to this school. I was proud to be, I'm proud to be part of this community. I'm proud and honored to be from Big Valley. I'm glad my chairman got up and spoke today. My tribal secretary, all of my tribal people, these kids that came up here, united. That's what it's all about. It's like the lady just in front of me said, it's not about us. It isn't. It's about these kids, our future. You know what, if we want to start somewhere, let's start in their schools, Mr. President, Mr. Principal over there. Start in the school and start teaching these kids about our Native people. That's what we need to do. When I was going to school, only took one person to call me a squaw, and guess what? She ended up with the black eye. Did that happen again? No, it didn't. And that's what I tell my kids. You know what? Don't lower yourself. I did it one time. Boy, did I get a good beating from my mom. She said, don't do that. You're going into their little thing. We're bigger than that. We're from this land. Don't let anybody take that from you. Be proud to be a Native American and a Mexican. Because my dad was from Mexico and he came here and he worked hard to have what we have today. Just like my mom from Big Valley. I come here today to say, acknowledge us. That's all I'm asking. Acknowledge us. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Trina Polly, and you all were given in your packet a recommended land acknowledgement statement for your consideration. And what I'm hearing today, or what I feel I'm hearing, is really an acknowledgement of the land that we're on from both sides agree on. So I would recommend that the resolution be not adopted at all, but the recommended land acknowledgement statement, which I will read. The Kelseyville Unified School District recognizes that the Lake County is situated on ancestral land of the Pomo people and their neighboring communities. For countless generations, the Pomo and neighboring tribes have called this area home. We are grateful for the rich heritage and commit to the respecting this land while building stronger relationships with indigenous groups. We are dedicated to the fostering a spirit of collaboration and friendship among all community members, past and present. I would hope that would be something that you would consider versus and do away with the resolution. Thank you.
By saying I'm really nervous and I wish I had stood up earlier because I feel this is slightly out of place now, but I'm going to continue to say it anyways. Good evening. My name is Kimberly Gunther and I'm a Kelseyville High School senior. I do not have much to say except that I ask that we treat each other with respect tonight, especially the Native American tribal members here who simply wish to speak their mind. Myself and other KUSD students are the youngest here, yet I feel that we are being the most respectful. I would like to remind everyone that you are able to speak if you wish instead of heckling from the sidelines hatefully and with disrespect. I find it inspiring to hear our community's opinions and I wish to continue to hear them. I further ask that we do not overcomplicate this topic that we are meant to be discussing tonight. I seek to remind you that we are discussing a land acknowledgement, not a name change. Please allow each other to speak freely and keep your decorum. Thank you.
And the last person, oh, I'm sorry.
My name is Emily Gunther, and I am also a senior at Kelseyville High School. I just wanted to remind everyone to reflect on their words tonight and to think about how that affected our community and their children. And I also wanted to thank the board for their time and attention to this very delicate matter. Thank you.
Mary Morris, from business in Kelseyville. We've dealt with all of the Native tribes around the county over the years, given a place for. There's never been an uncomfortable feeling, ever, with any of the natives that we've dealt with. We have always been shown respect
We've always shown them respect, we've tried. I spoke with Clayton Duncan 2 weeks ago. I had a wonderful conversation with him. What a good man. And he's passionate about healing. And I think we all need to do more than we've done. There's no question we have not done enough. I have to say, and I'm going to upset some of my Kelseyville people, I think the monument should be removed. I think there should be I'm just saying, this is about the proclamation. It is. There are so many things we can do to recognize, acknowledge, and respect our past. And our past is your past, okay? I said to Duncan, Mr. Duncan, I was so pleased to have that conversation with him because I didn't know what to expect. And what I found was a really decent person. And I said to him, 100 generations back, we're all related. So you're my brother. As I said to him, I'm your sister. I don't want hate. We are a beautiful town, and this isn't about the name. This is about the school board, and this is what I'm going to challenge you to do. The kids need to be taught this from young all the way up. The true history of this land. It's not pretty, but if you don't know history, you will repeat it. And I don't want it swept under the rug. One of the reasons I don't want the name changed. We all know what a horrible man, Kelsey and Stone, and how horrible the natives were treated, not just in Kelseyville, but across this entire country. It is horrible. But there are so many things we could do that I think would bring us together as opposed to causing more division. And I felt it at the last meeting, that division. And I went, this isn't our town. These aren't the people that I've known for 36 years. These aren't the same. We don't want to do that, and I'm done. It's all right. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. The board is going to discuss, I kind of called it before you got up there. So, thank you. You guys asked me to follow the rules and then you asked me to break them. I'm confused.
My name's Gary Lamson, and I detect a bit of divisiveness here. I'm not here to discuss the resolution. I'm not here to discuss the past. I don't think that this resolution, this is not the right venue for that resolution. It's dividing. I think we're in the wrong place at the wrong time for this resolution. I don't think you should put one person or one group separate from everybody else and give them recognition. I think that's whether they're Native Americans, African Americans, Irishmen, whatever they are. This is not the venue for this type of situation. They shouldn't be one group recognized over other groups. That's about all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you all for your input. At this time, if the board wishes to make a statement. Okay.
I'll stand like Gilbert. My name is Tama McQueen. My maiden name was Mills. I was born and raised here in Kelseyville. Went through the Kelseyville Unified School District kindergarten through 12th grade. Graduated in 1982. Some of my classmates are sitting on both sides of the aisle. There's a couple of things that I wanted to address, and they're actually matters that deal with point of order in the governance of a school district. The first one I want to talk to you about is the Brown Act. I heard a lot of discussion tonight about how we collaborated on a resolution. We did not collaborate on a resolution. That is illegal under the Brown Act. A resolution was brought to us, and we saw it at the same time that the public saw it. and based upon what was in that resolution, had discussion about changing the language of that resolution. It was a proclamation when it first came to us, and then was later changed to a resolution. As a board, we do not get to sit around and discuss how we're gonna vote, what our personal opinions are about situations. We don't get that luxury. We have to make decisions on the fly, based on the information that we're given, based on public input like we're getting tonight. So I just want to clear that up for any of you that may think that the 5 of us sat down and came up with this. That is not how that happened. And I think you need to know that. That is the truth. Because it would be a violation of the Brown Act, and that's a prosecutable offense. And I, for one, don't want to go to jail. So, I did not discuss this when it first was submitted with anybody other than the board president. So, we are allowed to talk to one person on the board, and that is it. We are not allowed to speak to each other in groups. So I'm not sure if any of you knew that, but I wanted to make that clear. Also, I wanted to talk about the reason why at graduation we have Spanish-speaking portions. Our district is 45.4% Hispanic. And of that population, there are many, many, many families, parents, young children working through our district who do not speak English. They don't understand English, they don't read and write English. So for us to leave that huge contingent out of graduation ceremonies by not having portions of it spoken in Spanish would be a disservice to those parents and those students. It's not that we're being exclusive to other ethnicities, to other languages, it's just the facts. We have a lot of Spanish-speaking students in our school district, and with that comes Spanish-speaking parents and grandparents. So it's really important that when they do have a graduation, they're included in that verbiage that comes out of the principal's mouth, the student's mouth, other representatives during the graduation ceremony. Not sure if you understood why we have a bilingual graduation. I also wanted to just commend Mr. Del Bosco, the senior class president, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I'm sorry, ASB president and senior class president, and I apologize, I don't remember your name. Yes, thank you. You know, that took a lot of courage to go around and ask students and come up with a survey. He did this on his own about what they felt, and I think that's important. We have many different student groups on campus at the high school. We have our Native American Club. They did a beautiful presentation at our March board meeting. They shared with us about their club, the mural that they did here at the high school and at the elementary school. And I think the students' voices are very important. They're important to me. That's why I chose to fill, I wasn't elected, I chose to fill a board position because my heart's desire was to help students and not get in the middle of any kind of political fray other than what it relates to education, because there are some things within education that become very political. So I just wanted to commend the the student body president, and I wanted to make a suggestion. He's not here, but maybe the senior class president and Mr. Jones could relay that to him. Wouldn't it be beautiful if you guys sat down with Mr. Jones and a counselor, and maybe you, as a collective student group, come up with something for this year's graduation to include our Indigenous students, our Native American population of seniors that may be walking across the stage this year. Wouldn't that be great? And it's student-led. Isn't that what we want? Student-led. So I would encourage you guys to do that and meet with Mr. Jones and meet with the school counselor about that. Just like the Hispanic community does, or the Hispanic students do, you guys do it too, right? Okay. not looking for applause. I just wanted to just clear some things out. You know, a lot of issues were brought to the board tonight that are really out of our jurisdiction. We have absolutely no control or say in a lot of these things that were discussed tonight. And I understand the passion. I understand the need to express your opinion about how you feel. It is really important. And this was awesome. This was a great forum for that. It would be great if we could line up chairs on both sides of Main Street in Kelseyville and have a podium or do a round circle or whatever and talk as a community like that instead of having it be based in a school board meeting. That would be really awesome. And I'd go to that and I'd participate. But anyway, I just really wanted to just let you know that there's a lot of things that are perceived that the board does that get put on social media that we don't do because we're not allowed to. It's illegal for us to do that. And I just wanted to make that statement so that hopefully that would clear up any confusion or misunderstanding.
Okay, I guess we'll just work our way down the line. So, this school board has absolutely no power to change the name of Kelseyville. It has no power to eliminate a monument. I don't know what, I personally, I'm actually, the whole board received many emails. Some of them started out with, please don't change the name of my town. We can't do this. So I really appreciate the input tonight, what everybody had to say. I don't like to hear what one side or the other side, because when you talk about division, those words are divisive in themselves. Some of the members that spoke tonight, some of the members of the community talked about we should be doing things to educate the kids. If the kids are not connected to the school, we cannot educate them. A group of students is saying, please see me. Please recognize me. I am a person. And I think that is extremely important. And we need to get there. Another fact that came up was, and I'm going to put this bluntly, the people that are worried about the name change are fearful that an action that we take will cause some sort of unfair favoritism towards eliminating the name. There's fear of, and rightfully so, there's a fear of the government, of the Bureau of Geographic Names. Who knows who these people are? However, please come back in July please come back to this room in July when they come here for a town hall to get your input. Because they're making the decision, not us. They want to hear what you have to say as well. Because that fear is so great, and because that fear is so divisive at this point in time, my strong feeling that we need to recognize the lands is also accompanied by a strong feeling that maybe the time is not right now. That will be after the government gets out of our town. So,
justice delayed is justice denied. Vote now. What's the holdup?
okay. Thank you. Okay. That's pretty much, where I'm feeling right now.
What about the rescue board?
I know. No.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going down the line. We started with Tama. Skip Gilbert because he had his 45 minutes and then you guys got upset. I'm sharing where I'm feeling, and like everybody else in this room, I'm respecting what you have to say, and if you choose to respect what I have to say, that's fine. If not, I can live with that. But
My name is Casey Carlson. I was a mend those relationships. I hear a lot of talk about how Kelseyville is a friendly town, and I believe that. I believe that it is. And I have been a very grateful beneficiary of the friendliness of this town. You know, I think about that word friendliness, being friendly, being a friend, and I think, you know, well, what do we do when we have friends who are struggling? We lend a hand, we lend words of encouragement. And you can say, oh, those are just words, but words do matter. You know, I can tell you 100%, you know, I lost my sister about 1.5 years ago. And so I see faces right now that came to our family and said, whatever you need, we're here for you, we got you. And that mattered. You know, it mattered a lot to feel supported and to feel seen in a time where we were struggling. So to me, acknowledging people and rebuilding those relationships in hopes of supporting more success overall for the community is a positive thing. Now, I also think I understand the concerns of people that this is getting mixed up with the name change situation. I completely understand that. I agree that that's not a good thing to have this mixed up with the name change situation. I would hope that maybe we could consider writing a formal letter to the Geographical Names Committee on behalf of the school district to formally, you know, make known our neutral position. And that might be something that would alleviate those concerns for some people.
Great solution.
I was fortunate enough to be out there for spring break with kids from our Native American club working on the murals that surround the room that you're in. And they are gorgeous. And what a honor it was to see these kids do something that the whole community took notice of and the whole community could be proud of. So for those who don't think that you are seen, I can see you from 4 blocks away. It's gorgeous. So I appreciate the Native American Club for doing that. A resolution from the school board is a piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything, and quite frankly, the timing of it does strike me as a little bit political. I think what we need to do is do better. I don't think it's the school board's place to weigh in on this. I think it's the school board's place to make sure that all of our students are acknowledged. I agree with Tama. I think that the senior class, and these are the kids who didn't have an 8th grade graduation because of COVID, let the senior class sit down with the counselors and with their principal and discuss a way to work out a native prayer, a native acknowledgement, some sort of reading, so that everyone feels incorporated, everybody feels welcomed. But this is not the purview of the school board. We're here to make sure that your kids have science textbooks that aren't 16 years old by the time we get around to replacing them. We are here to make sure that middle schoolers aren't being taken off campus by ambulance because they got beaten so bad by another student. That's what we're here to do. This is not our place. I'm glad that we were able to bring the community together for a conversation so that everybody had an opportunity to be heard. I think the community moving forward needs to do more with this. But this is not what the school board is for. And I would encourage our senior students, get together with their classmates, with the counselor, with the principal, given that this is such an issue in this community, and see if you can come up with ways to incorporate something in graduation that is healing and still respectful of the students' feelings, and move forward in that direction. But having a school board mandate something isn't going to change anybody's attitudes or views. That has to come from your heart. That has to come from your soul. We need to do better as a community, and a piece of paper from a school board isn't going to make it so. Just my opinion.
Okay, so as you can see, the school board has different thoughts. We didn't come here with, who was it that told me at the last meeting, do you have your mind made up? And I said, no, I came here to listen. She goes, no, you didn't. I said, well, why did you ask me? So I'm hearing a variation here. I'm hearing the importance of having the Native population, especially the Native students, recognized through some sort of acknowledgement and a recommendation that come from the students. I'm also hearing a mix, and I don't know what the vote is, I'm just hearing a mix as to whether the resolution is the important part here, or whether that should just maybe be discussed further down the line.
You don't actually need a resolution to do a land acknowledgement.
We do not need permission to do a land acknowledgement. We do not need to do a resolution to do a land acknowledgement. But because the land acknowledgement has become so intertwined with the resolution, we need to consider how we move ahead. Because we ask you people to come out here so we can listen to you, and then we need to really seriously think about what you said. Everybody, not one side or the other side. Everybody's opinion is valuable. And I cannot judge people's pain either side. I cannot judge people's fears on either side. I can't do that. It's not what we do. So
I think our students' opinions count the most. I would love to see them get together.
Yeah, I
Take
agree.
this, have them get together and see if they can come up with a land acknowledgement on their own for their graduation, and we can always revisit this. But this has
I would
become
hope.
very political and divisive, and this is not what we can do.
I would hope that we could get to that point, because I hope we could get to that point, but we had 114 of the seniors polled, and 74 of them expressed desire not to have it.
Well, I think, given
74 out of 114 voted.
Oh, I'm sorry, 74 out of 100, okay, 60% were opposed to that, of that 74.
But what were the questions asked? You don't know.
I don't know either, but it's time for the board to discuss this. I know.
I have a voice.
Mr. President, maybe they needed some clarification. Maybe they were assuming that the land acknowledgement was our resolution and not its own entity. Could be, maybe Mr. Jones could help facilitate with Student Body President Del Bosco to look at the context and make sure that there was an understanding of what they were actually being told.
You're giving a head nod to that. Can you enlighten us a little bit? Okay. Okay. And you, yes? Okay, so we're on, and it seems to me to be simple.
It should be simple. It should not.
On a point of clarification.
I'm sorry. The board is now in discussion. Thank you.
Could the board clarify whether this resolution
Sir, this isn't a time for public comment. This is the time for board discussion. And we need everybody to respect that so we can continue with the meeting and move on. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think a land acknowledgement is fairly agreeable for everybody, and we acknowledge. to occupy this land.
I think
it can be,
that the boards, there's a
we
consensus
don't need a
amongst the
resolution
board.
for it.
I do believe, I do agree with Superintendent Thomas. However, I do feel that the senior class, since it's their graduation, until this politically charged issue has been resolved, it's still the senior class's graduation, and they should have some say, because they did express a concern about it here tonight. So yes, I do believe the Native American Club should get involved in that discussion, but we do not want to leave the seniors out of it. It is their graduation.
Well, I believe, Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there are some seniors in the Native American Club. So I think they can work together. And I agree on the education piece. I do want to remind the board there is a law that was passed, and there will soon be an ethnic studies course that will be taught at the high school level, and part of that course will focus on educating our youth on the history of the tribes in our community, which will, I think, benefit this community.
I think part of the issue too for the seniors, and I have a son who's graduating this year, and I do the mom carpool. I've got the fun bus, and part of my discussion with these kids is that this has become so divisive and so political in the community. They don't want it at their graduation. These are the kids that had to drive through 8th grade graduation because of COVID. This is their graduation. They don't want any part of this.
Good point.
So, have members of the senior class and seniors in the Native American Club sit down with the principal and craft something that everyone's comfortable with for their graduation. It's about the kids. It's not about us.
Okay, so as I understand it, there is no need for any action tonight because we're redirecting it to the students. The resolution that's causing so much fear and divisiveness will not be discussed in the near future. It will be it will be moved down where it is no longer an influence on whatever.
So you would need to make a motion to table the resolution or to not approve the resolution to move forward.
If we can't, it's expected that we're going to bring it back. So, do we want to table until after there's a decision on the name change? Okay. Is there a motion on the tabling the resolution until after there is a decision from the government? I move that.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Rick, second by Mary Beth. All in favor? Aye. That was unanimous. Thank you all for your attendance. I hope that you feel you be heard. Do we have anything for advanced agenda?
I'd like to make a resolution that the board doesn't pass any more resolutions.
I agree to that. Okay, thank you all for your attendance.